Hello viewer, a warm welcome to Elimu TV where you exclusively watch and learn. I am your teacher, Madam Christine Okoth, taking you through Mathematics Form 3, and today we're going to have our second lesson. Our first lesson was on quadratic equation, specifically how to factorize equation. So today we're going to learn about perfect square, still on the same topic. But before we go to our main lesson, we have to deal with the assignment which we did, which was on factorization of the quadratic equation. But first things first, there was something I gave you, a riddle. So the riddle was like this. Imagine you are in a dark room. What will you do to get out of the room? So we said in mathematics, all you have to do is to think smartly, but don't think so hard. So the answer is very simple, and I see most of you got it. We will be interacting through the social media, and the answer was as simply as stop imagining. Because you imagine you are in a room. So what will you do to get out of the room? Simply stop imagining. So let's get down to our lesson. Let's start by doing our previous assignment. So our assignment question number 1, you are supposed to factorize this x squared minus 5x plus 6. So we're going to be very brief on this because this is just a recap of what we did. So this was the first assignment, and in this case our coefficient of x squared is 1. So all we have to do is look at the two numbers. If I add, if I multiply, I will get 6. So this is the product. And the sum, if I add, I'm going to get -5. So think of all the products, or think about all the factors of 6. First, I have 1 and 6, and I have 2 and 3. So I'll think which one is more closer. I'll settle down with this. Then I'm going to put out my signs so that if I add these two numbers, they're going to give me -5. And if I multiply these two numbers, they're going to give me a +6. So my numbers, all of them are going to be negative. So what I'll do, I'll substitute the middle term here. So it's going to be x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. So you factorize what's common. Here what is common is x. You put it outside. Inside, you'll remain with x minus an x, and an x cancels out. You remain with 2. You go to the next set of numbers. We have -3x plus 6. What is the common factor between 3x and 6? The common factor here, we have -3. Open up your bracket. So 3 and 3 will cancel out. You are left with x. Then minus 3 goes here twice. So I have common set of brackets. So I'll narrow them into one bracket, and I'll have x minus 2 and x minus 3. So I hope you got this number. The next number, was 2x squared minus x minus 6. If you can note, the coefficient on x squared is 2, and there's no common factor that you can divide all through. So what we do when you're getting the product, we're going to multiply 2 and 6. So look for these two numbers. When you multiply the product, you're going to get -12. And when you add, the sum is going to give you a -1. So think of all the products, rather the factors of 12. So I have 1 and 12, I have 2 and 6, I have 4 and 3. Which one will be more closer? I settle down with these, then I think of the signs which I'll put before. So if I do 4, -4 and +3, it will give me -1. So substitute this in the second value. So I have 2x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 6. Go in the sets of 2. Look at what is common, the factor which is common, put it outside the bracket. So what is common here? I have a 2 and I have a 2. I can factorize out with x, and x is also common here. I open up my bracket. What am I left with here? So these are like having two x's. So I have an x here, and here I have 2. I go to the next set of numbers. What is common between these two? So I have positive. 3 is the one which is common. So I have x minus 2. So this and this is common. So I will narrow it down to one bracket. So I have x minus 2. And the next set of bracket is 2x plus 3. So I hope you got all that and all the steps which are involved in working out. Then the last number on our assignment, our second assignment was 2x squared minus x minus 6. So if you can note, the coefficient of x squared is a 2, and there's no factor which is common in between, so we cannot divide all through. So for us to get our product, we're going to multiply the a and the c. So here we're going to have 2 times negative 6, which will give us negative 12. So look for two sets of numbers. When you multiply them, they give you negative 12. Then look for the same set of numbers. When you add them, they're supposed to give you a negative 1. So look at all the factors of 12. So we have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. So look at the factors, the set of factors which is most common. If you add, it's going to give you a negative 1. So I narrow down to these. Then you decide which side, it's either positive or negative, you're going to put on these sets of numbers. So I'm going to do positive, negative 4 and positive 3. So substitute these numbers in our middle term here. So I'm going to have 2x squared minus 4x plus 3x minus 6. So you factorize in sets of 2. So look for a common number, a common factor between this and this. So the first common one is a 2. Then x is also in both of them. So open up the bracket. So 2x goes here, you're going to remain with an x. Then here you're going to remain with a 2. Then go to the next set of numbers. 3x minus x. What is common in between a common factor? We have 3. So I'm going to put positive 3 outside. Open up the bracket. 3 goes here, cancels out with a 3. You remain with an x. Then negative 6 divided by 3, you're going to get 2. So we have common set of brackets here. We're going to narrow them to 1. So we have x minus 2, and the other bracket is 2x plus 3. So that is what you're supposed to do, and I hope you got this answer. So for the next, our last assignment, we have 2x squared plus 16x plus 32. There's a common factor between 2, 16 and 32. So what is the common number that I can divide all through? The common number here, the common factor is 2. So I'm going to divide all through by 2, by 2, by 2. And my final equation is going to be, this one cancels out. I'm remaining with x squared. This one goes here 8 times plus 8x. This one goes 16 plus 16. So look at two sets of numbers, rather the factors. When you multiply them, they're going to give you a positive 16. And when you add them, they're going to give you a positive 8. So go to the factors of 16. So the first factor is 1 and 16. We have 2 and 8. We have 4 and 4, and I don't think we have any other factors. So which one is more closer? We have this set of numbers, and both of them are going to be positive. So substitute these sets of numbers in our middle term. So we have x squared plus 4x plus 4x plus 16. So in sets of 2, you factorize. Which one is the common factor outside here? We're going to put an x. Inside, this is like having 2x. So if I cancel out 1x, I'm going to remain with an x only. So x goes here, x and x will cancel out. I'm going to remain with a 4. So I'm done with the first set. I go to the next set, 4x plus 16. What is the common factor between these two sets? The common factor here is 4. Put it outside the bracket. So if 4 goes here once, 4 goes here 1, I'm going to remain with that x. And 4 goes here 1, 4 goes here 4 times plus 4. These and these are common. Put them in one bracket. And finally, what is outside the bracket? And that is my answer after factorizing this equation. So today we are going to discuss about a perfect square. So when we talk about squares, we mean if you multiply a number by itself or you multiply a number twice, you get what you get is what we call a perfect square. For example, if I have 3 times 3, 9, we call this 9 a perfect square. If I have 9 times 9, when I get 81, so 9 and 81 are what we call perfect square. So in quadratic equation, we also have perfect square. So we're going to derive the formula of a perfect square using this example. So for example, you have been told x plus 7 and you have x minus 7. So this means you square the number. So what you will do, you have this means you multiply that number by itself. So you have x plus 7 and x plus 7. So it is easier when you use the box method. So in box method, this is what we do. On one side, you put the x and 7. And on the other side, you're going to put x and 7. So here we are multiplying. You're going to multiply all these numbers by the numbers on this side. So x times x will give me x squared. X plus 7 times 7 will give me 7x. 7 times x will give me 7x. And 7 times 7 will give me 49. So if I'm to write this number, so we have here x squared plus 7x plus 7x plus 49. You add what is like terms, the like terms together. So I only have these sets of like terms. So my final equation is going to be x squared plus 14x plus 49. So here I'm going to get x squared plus 14x plus 49. Then I go to the next set of number. It is x minus 7 squared. So I'll do the same. So I have, this means I multiply x minus 7 times x minus 7. So what do I get? I'm going to use the same table, but the negative here we have negative 7 and a negative 7. So everything will change. So x times x gives me x squared. X times minus 7 gives me minus 7x. Negative 7 times x gives me negative 7x. And finally, negative 7 times negative 7 gives me 49. So what I do, I'll add all these up. So x squared minus 7x plus 49. The like terms, those are the only like terms. So my final equation is going to be minus 7 times minus 7 is minus 14x, then plus 49. So here I'm going to have x squared minus 14x plus 49. So if you look at these two sets of number, that is where we're going to derive our equation for perfect square. So realize if I have x squared the final answer here, when you square it, you're going to get x squared, if I have x. So it means the first number, it means you square the first number, then go to the last number. This last number here is 7. And the final answer I got here is 49. It means I squared the last term here. So 7 squared. Then in the middle term, this is 14x. It means I multiply x under 7. So x times 7, then you double it. So in short, if you want to find a square of this number, all you have to do is you square the first number, you square the second number, you do the product of A and B, then you multiply it by 2. So that is then for the second set of number, if we have a negative, you do the same procedure, but there's a difference in the second term. This is ax squared. This is going to be minus 2ab, then minus plus b squared. So this is our formula which we derive from this example. So let us look at just one example of this before we wind up. So you have to write down your formula. So this is what we do, a squared. So it is either a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, or a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. So let us look at an example here. So we have 4x plus y. We have to square. So a is the first number, so the first term here. So remember when we are writing our equations, we normally use a, b, c. So here our a, this is the first number here. So the first set of number, 4x, we're going to square it. Then plus, let us go first the last number. So the last number we're also going to square it. Then we do the product of both these numbers. So this is 4x. I'm using the dot to signify you are multiplying y, then you double it. So here I'm going to have 4 times 4 squared is 4 squared is 16, x squared, then plus 4x times a y will give you 4xy, double it up, it's going to be 8xy. Then the final one is going to be y squared. So this is your final answer. So let us try another example of something which has a negative sign. So for example, we have 2x minus 3y. You square it, remember our rule. So this time we're using the negative one. So we have a squared plus b squared minus 2ab. So what is our a? This is our a. So we're going to square our a, then plus, so our b is negative 3y, we square it. So when you come to the middle term, you're going to multiply this and this. So we have 2x, still using the dot to signify a multiplying, times negative 3y. Then you double up the numbers. So for my final equation, what am I going to have? I'll have 2 squared will give me 4x squared plus, so I first deal with this, 2x times negative 3y. So here I get negative 6xy. Then I double it up. What does it give me? It's going to give me negative 12xy. So a positive and a negative gives me a negative. So I'll do away with the positive. Plus negative 3y squared. So negative 3 times negative 3, it will give me a positive number, which is 9, then y squared. So that is how you find out your numbers. If you're given an equation and you're supposed to square it. So that has been our lesson for today, and before we wind up, I'm going to give you a few numbers to try. So this is going to be our assignment. So you find the squares of the following number. The first one is 5y minus 4. This is a z. So you find the square of that. And question number 2, 3 minus x. So find the square of that.